TNT, which is incredibly impressive. Consistency tells me we are going to see them make it, but Levin, I could be wrong. Am I speaking too soon?
Honestly, I don't feel like you are. I think these guys look like one of the stronger teams, and they definitely deserve it. Hey, look, all I'm gonna say, maybe Harry picked the wrong French brothers to qualify today, because, yeah, man, it's not looking too good further down the leaderboard, but focusing on Skyjump and Mumsy. I mean, these two, I mean, when we talk about talent and people who have impressed us throughout the year, I think you'd have to have these two up there as far as French duos goes, and just duos in general in EU, and so if they can keep this up and hold on, it'd be a worthy team to make it.
Yeah, for sure. I think the one interesting thing about them is in Battle Royale, they've actually split as a duo, right? They're not actually playing together anymore. They're playing with a mixture of Akira and Kurama. So seeing this as like a last dance between them and maybe even getting to play in front of the home crowd, there's no better way to sign it off.
That's so interesting. Yapko and Panzer, another duo who have stuck together because they have qualified for Paris, but have gone their separate ways in terms of FNCS. And maybe it is just a case of needing a different partner for a different style of gameplay. Can we bring up the leaderboard again, if that's possible? Because I just want to look at that top 10. If you look at the points, it's actually incredibly close, even as you head on to page 2 as well. From 17 to 5, things can really change. I didn't know we could do that, production. That was snazzy. Diamond, Dimas, Yapko and Panzer already qualified, so while it's disappointing for them at the moment, they know that they're through. But if we look at Focus and Thomas, Pink and Chris, if they have a fantastic game, they could still potentially get within the top 6, Coach Harry. Izzy and Nosif, maybe them too.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it is with Reload, I think it's very easy for you if you get the right loot off spawn and, you know, you get into the right situation in endgame just to get a pop-off game, to get enough eliminations like we just saw Shark and Teeny do to, you know, obviously they're stabilizing themselves at the top of the leaderboard. But for the rest of the teams, it's, you know, something you aim for is like, if you can take high ground, you can pressure the lobby and get those eliminations that way. It's very easy, and well, not easy, but it can be done that you can jump up the leaderboard with a pop-off game for sure.
And yeah, I feel like, Levin, we haven't had any outliers like we sometimes have in FNCS, where a duo comes out of nowhere and takes the victory royale. Tonight, Levin, I feel like we're seeing the same duos making it to the end game, game after game.
Yeah, but we did also just have Robin and Gubshy win a game, right? So I think there is potential for teams to come out of nowhere, and ultimately, you don't want to leave it too late. We have these final 2 games coming up. You have to make them count.
Yeah, you absolutely do. So let's head into game 7.
Thanks, Frankie. There's a lot of potential, but there's also a lot of nerves now. I mean, early on, it's 8 total matches. Yeah, we still got 6. We still got 5, 4, 3. Now we only have 2 matches left. This is where you have to make it count. You have to set yourself up for that last match. You don't want to go in to the game needing a win. You want to go in comfortably, either in that qualifying range or at least really close to it, Taco. And the good news is we're ready to go. So let's head into the second last match of the day.
As much as basically every non-qualified LAN team would love to not be in a position of victory royale or bust at these last couple of lobbies, Takata, that is sadly the circumstances for one team too many. Big eyes on for Focus, Thomas, Pink, Chris, Izzy, Nosa, Aries team, but also the likes of even Vidil, Ju, Cringe, Volko. This leaderboard is just way too stacked. There are so many teams that are all fighting for those last 3 positions on the battle bus for the Reload Elite Series LAN, and it's just not going to come easy by any stretch of the imagination. They're going to have to put everything out there to try and see whether or not they can overtake.
Scroll with a quick Elam onto Focus. This is the last thing you want to see if you're Virtus Pro watching right now. Thomas HD Focus have yet to qualify. This is the last chance for them to, and they have been slowly falling down that leaderboard. 11th place going into this match. Oof. I don't even want to know the mental right now from them. Hellfire, Winter, they're comfortably in top 6, but if they go down here, that will quickly change.
Problem though for Hellfire and Winter is that they just found themselves getting pushed out from the last lobby. That 16th place finish has ultimately resulted in them being in a position now where they cannot afford another stumble. If Badil and Ju take them out here and now, it is disaster class, and Ju with the first strike, the elimination, and now Badil and Ju have confidently made sure that Hellfire and Winter are really going to have to work for it for the remainder of this tourney.
You know, not close to any players yet. This is a team that have been kind of sitting in that qualifying range, but just on the cusp. As Storm and Demish, quick fight on Skyjump Momsy. Don't want to go down here being in fourth, but I mean, Skyjump Momsy having 240 points. They're looking quite good. Momsy's gonna just have to wait for his teammate to go on back in now. I'm wondering if they were kind of doing one of the split drops, but for now, Demish Storm, they're not done. They're just gonna start with their momentum here as Valerie falls without being knocked.
Tough scenes for some of our contenders here today. I'm thinking more so about what just happened to Skyjump and dealing with the likes of Demish Darm, because they don't look like they're slowing down. They're just bulldozing their way through every single lobby that they're able to play into. Fido and Dexy got to keep their wits about them while they find themselves currently in that 5th place position on the leaderboard. Getting off on the right foot means putting Hellfire and Winter back into the blender. This duo has just been in a world of hurt from the start here.
A lot of different teams in the mix up here. Yapko Panzer, just hardware, fullbacks. Gotta be careful as Yapko puts on the pressure now. Shots from above. Potential third parties in the surrounding area. You don't want to get cracked here, as one Elam is going to be picked up. Is it going to be enough for them to kind of play it a little slower now? Zarb is kind of forced to do what he can and escape, but Saya's Scary will catch him off guard. In the meantime, her wrist still just kind of lurking by.
Nobody is safe. Pink and her wrist have retreat from hostile hold entirely, but you're already playing inside the storm. You're already hunting for scraps on the map. And it's just never going to be an easy feat to try and contend with the likes of not only recuperating lost loot, lost material, but also these other competitors just taking each other out. Focus won't win the trade up against Nosif. And Izzy right there to back him up. Thomas sent packing. Sky and Scroll, the damage has been done. All they really needed to do was just get that initial shutdown effort, and Demish Darm just still hunting out the Frenchies. Fortunately for Skyjump and Momsy, at least in that last lobby, Takata, they were able to create a bit of a buffer zone. 239 points in that 4th place position compared to Fido and Dexy, who are looking at 193. You want to believe that they've done enough to be able to maintain their spot for the landfall.
You want to, you really do, but with 2 matches left and just kicking things off here in the second to last one, so much can still change. It's still way too close for all of these teams. Sharktini, a little less to worry about as we move on over to Sayaz Scary, but Momsy with the big shot connecting. He took the 1v1, but Scary will avenge his teammate and be able to pick up Sayaz, now marking their 7th elimination of the match. This could be a big game.
And a big game is exactly what they're going to have to create, because they don't have a whole lot of time left to work with here. They are far down on the leaderboard. We're starting off in that 17th place position, Takata, so they have a ton of work cut out for them if they truly want to play catch with the rest of the lobby. But 7 eliminations, definitely one way to get the party started. Still It's every single elimination. It's just not going to feel like it's enough for Size and Scary. And for Mumsy, great job at least holding his own, buying enough time here, forcing Scary and Size to have to take a second to actually play for the revive.
Vexy and Co. currently in 6th place. They are the cutoff going into this match. Puts a lot of pressure on your shoulders, but as you can tell, not a lot of aggression wanted to come from this duo. If we look at their previous matches, they've, you know, averaged around 2-3 eliminations, and some of them didn't get any at all, so they're not one of the most aggressive duos we've seen today, but in the last 3 matches, they've made top 10 in every single one, so whatever switch up they kind of had after the start of the day has clearly been working.
But to play devil's advocate to that, if you're a team that's just consistently playing a little bit more towards the reactive side versus being proactive, versus being one of those teams that's kind of taking affairs into your own hands, looking for those consistent stream of eliminations, when you're just looking to only play for the placement, you are a little bit more vulnerable to the team surrounding you and just getting way more aggressive because you're kind of like a sitting duck. And sure, maybe that's worth it, but I think it just invites a lot more attention than what you would believe, because teams are going to notice, especially teams like Darm and Deemish that have just been on a tearaway. They are not looking to slow down. They have just been full speed ahead since they first got into the lobby, and it's been like that for every single lobby they participated in.
Yeah, it's difficult though, because at the same time, you know, if you're constantly looking for those eliminations, could get third party after third party coming through. I mean, it is reload, so you can always go back in, but there reaches a point where you just kind of are scuffed in the end game. You just don't have enough loot, don't have enough mats, and you don't want to put yourself in that position. But you know, Sky and Scroll, they're having a great time here. They're more than comfortable in 3rd place right now, already qualified. Quick dance, not too much to worry about.
Smooth seas ahead for these two. Can't blame them. Prize pool is nice, sure, but we know what to expect. We know that the standards that they have consistently delivered on. It's definitely a much different vibe, though, in comparison to what Size and Scary have been contending with. A little bit of evil Fortnite at bay. 8 eliminations now in total. Trying to split the pizza, figure out what they want to carry moving forward. But definitely kind of expecting them to look for even more eliminations here.
The thing about Sia's Scary is, you know, I look back at Major 1, they can have some flops here and there, right? They have kind of bad games, but their pop-off games, when they're popping off, like, they're popping off, all right? They're getting huge amounts of eliminations. They're getting a win or even a top 3. So I'm hoping, and this is one of those times where they really show what they're capable of. You know, they've had rough matches leading into this, but as we've seen, one big game is more than enough, especially now, to bump yourself up.
Vendil and Jew. They've got Haris and Pink completely in their sights, and they're not the only ones looking at where Pink and Haris are at. This is a very tough spot to be in. Not really a whole lot of room for Pink and Haris to actually work with here. And they've also got to deal with the likes of Sky and Scroll directly next to them. Maybe gonna opt to build out just a bit, try and figure out. Do think that Haris was able to grab some of the leftover materials from that loot pile, but even still, they are just left in a bit of a desperate position. This is quite the pickle to be in. Just so many teams surrounding them that have practically nothing to lose by eliminating them.
We'll look back over at Cringe and Volko. They've been looking good. These last 2 matches, they've been looking real good. A 5th place, a 3rd place, good amount of elims. Hopefully they can keep it up though, as they're not really looking to play much more aggressive. They've already done what they needed to in this early game. You can kind of tell that, you know, it's a different vibe in this match compared to the last ones. It's just a lot more quiet. Not as much noise, not as many fights. As the clock's ticking and we continue on. Once the 7 zone of beers, reloads are disabled as well. 16 duos up, a lot less than we've seen before. And what a zone pull for Cringe and Volko.
It's not too surprising to see that little bit of stop and go, though. Teams, ooh, right as I'm speaking, that drone shot just showcasing all of it. Winther and Hellfire immediately taken into the center of a focal point of aggression here. And Panzer, Yepko, they won't waste any time. That's going to be clear eliminations across the board for Hellfire and Winther. They have just been going through it since the start, and things did not get easier. Now they have to bank entirely on lobby number 8, the final match of the day, to see whether or not they can actually confirm their position for that LAN qualification spot. This is going to give such a big opportunity, though, for the teams underneath them on the leaderboard, though, to try and play catch-up. And one of them being Thomas and Focus. They have got to drop a huge game here, and they cannot afford an early departure. Relying on that game 8 performance, it's just too much of a risk factor, and they would likely also be at the mercy of other teams gutting before them.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even really seen them in the late games in the past 2 matches. They were always trying to play for kind of the best position, even if it meant playing a bit more aggressive. But recently, they haven't even been able to make it that far, and the pressure is just not stopping. Thomas gets knocked, Focus is cracked. The rotate has not gone their way. All they have left is the last match of the day, and they might have to win it. Taco Pradaj in a similar situation goes down shortly after.
Medeal and Jew were just eating there for a moment. They had the full positional advantage. Focus and Thomas just got stopped in their tracks by where Trexer and Pradaj were at, and trouble still brewing here for Teamy and Shark, but again, just one of those duos with literally nothing to lose aside from a little bit of prize pooling. They've been trying to go toe-to-toe with Swizzy and Pixie all day long here. As now Mumsy, Skyjump, they just want to continue establishing themselves inside of the leaderboard for the qualification range.
Scary just about making it in, as Yapko Panther are going to follow shortly after. Vito Dexy, 205 points now on the board, looking very healthy as they make their rotate on in, right on top of Darm's box. No fight's going to break out, though.
Vito and Dexy, they might have to force the issue here. Material count just running a little bit too low. Sky scroll from underneath, though. You can see Haris and Pink now in their whole world of trouble. Pink left as a solo. Not even sure how much longer he'll be left standing with the way the lobby is kind of just closing in on itself. Opportunities are wearing thin here. Saya, Scary, looking back. You've got a duo that's relatively healthy, trying to now send themselves towards that front side of zone. Ju and Vadil actually want to be some of the first on height.
Ooh.
Sharktini won't get the chance just yet, but Saya is Scary. Trouble now in the midst for Swizzy and Pixie. Is the Spaniard's going to look to take him out.
I like what I'm seeing. It's starting to smile a bit here as Saya Scary continue on forwards, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. 163 is what they're at. Juvadil, one in. You were saying it, Taco. Just getting enough placements isn't gonna do it. You need those eliminations. You need to make the most out of it in these last matches, and that's exactly what they're going for here, continuing to hold on to height.
Very smart by Vadil there too. Already anticipating that the chop was going to take place, so just sending himself upwards off the overdrive grenade, making it very difficult for anybody to actually challenge too for the high ground. Saya is Scary, also maybe handling a little bit of dirty work for them, trying to see if they can chop out Dexy and Fido, but Dexy doing a great job just holding the floor, holding steady, trying to scale down the hillside here. But Ju and Vadil from way up overhead won't be able to get a glance towards this backside of zone instance from Mumsy and Skyjump. They're able to kind of slow play it a bit here, though, but they always have to be so cautious of what might be directly in front of them. Every single pre-existing build that's not theirs could just work against them with the player waiting on the other side of the wall.
Despite losing Shark early on, Teeny is still getting the job done. Now the issue is, though, he's ran low on mats, he's ran low on heals. Players going right into his box, but it doesn't matter. 1 HP is what he's left with. Can he get the siphon? No, he goes down. Vadil and Ju continuing to hold on to height. Sayas Scary looking healthy as well. Fido, Dexy trying to make their way back up, but with 0 builds, Fido's stuck. All he has is a med kit. I don't think he's going to be able to make it back.
It's just going to be however many placements that medkit can actually buy him. But for Scary and Sayas, they've actually made their way towards the high ground. They don't have a whole ton of builds to work with, but it might not matter. Fido, the moment that he goes up, he's immediately met by Yapko and Panzer, but it seems like he still had to play a little bit of spoiler there, as now Yapko, Vexy, trying to play their heals from inside of the back of Storm, but Ju and Vadil, as a duo, now on the low ground, might be able to cause some trouble here, but instead it's trouble that finds Vadil. Ju knows that he's got to find every little bit of placement he can, but this is a solid position to be in. He's at least got the make it to work with.
In the blink of an eye, the whole lobby is gone. I think there's just 3-4 duos left. 6 players, Sayas and Scary, looking to make it happen. They were falling far behind the cutoff. They needed a big match, and this could be the one. They have the upper hand in terms of positioning. They just cannot lose this 2v2 as Nosif with a big connect. Izzy now trying to make it happen. The pressure from above, though, it's not stopping. Ju has overthrown them. Scary now drop below, put into panic as Ju's trying to clutch this one up. 231 points, launching himself up the leaderboard, but he goes down. Sayas falls shortly after, and Nosif and Izzy, I know Harry's licking his lips right now, smiling as his prediction just won the second to last match.
Harry's gonna have some choice words for Levin on the desk, that I'm sure of, but more importantly still, Takada, we just keep seeing constant mix-ups for what's going to actually be the overall impact on the leaderboard. Yes, we know that the teams that are already qualified for LAN are going to help with the rollover positions, but for everyone else, it's time to see what exactly is going to take place. But for Izzy and Nosif, first victim around the day, a big kudos to them. But Frankie, Levin, Harry, what's up next?
Well, what's up next for Harry is gloating to Levin, because Harry, you highlighted Izzy and Nosif as a duo to watch. They were 14th going into this one, so it's uncertain as to whether they've done enough with that victory royale, and it hasn't been easy for Izzy so far. But Harry, they managed to do it. So props to you for highlighting this duo.
I'm not taking any credit, you know, with how they performed most of today. I feel like anyone could say, you know, maybe it's not the day for them, but they've had a few pop-off games. There was another second place earlier in the day, right, where, you know, it was a similar type of, you know, formula. Play through low ground, get to a position where height gets chaotic and trying to capitalize. Didn't work in that game, but this game it did. And all that really is happening is there's just so many solos with how chaotic the games are, that they're just picking up, and it's just those cypher mats just continually going over and over and over again, just getting them to a point where they don't even need to build on low ground. The chaos is happening above them, and they're just going to get the free refreshes and eliminations from it. And to be honest, it looks easy, but it's really hard to be able to maintain low ground for that long. And, you know, hopefully going into Game 8, now they're in a position where they can actually put themselves in a spot to, you know, be in front of their home crowd at the LAN.
No, absolutely. I think we saw sort of Swizzy and Pixie do it in game 2, and we sort of highlighted it then, as far as like, if you can just full top out on low ground in some of these games, you're going to be in a situation where you can get a bunch of limbs and sort of really make it deep. So props to them. Still, I think they still got a bit to do as far as securing their spot, but a very, very impressive, it's not a start, right? We're here in game number 7, right? But a revival, we'll call it.
Yeah, a last dance in a sense. So we've got one more last dance for all of these duos before we lock in our European duos for Paris. So don't go anywhere. It's going to get incredibly tense after this break. Welcome back to Fortnite fortunes in game number 8. So let's take a look at the leaderboard now and see who's currently in contention. You can see that there was a huge game from Izzy and Nosif, and even though they've been 14th on the leaderboard before, getting that victory royale with a number of eliminations, Coach Harry, has taken them in contention. But points-wise, we're still looking so close. If you look at 6th and 7th, Badil and Ju and Vexy and Catchby, they're on a tiebreaker situation, but Badil and Ju's eliminations means that if we had to come down to 2-3-1, 2-3-1 points after this game, they would be the ones making it. So, Harry, do you think that Badil and Ju are going to be making it to Paris?
I mean, it depends on their Osborne situation. They've been splitting top-tier training for the entire time, and it's just interesting whether, you know, Hellfire and Winter, then they've fallen out of contention slightly. You know, they can still, with a big game, get themselves back in it, and, you know, maybe they're going to be a little bit more aggressive. So for Badil and Ju have to be thinking, you know, maybe we have to disengage the spot really early on, and that can lead to different situations and problems, right, where you don't have enough loot going into endgame, or you're getting eliminated early, so you're having to recover. But if they can have a standard, normal early game, I see no reason why they can't be qualifying to the LAN.
And Sayas and Scary, they're currently in 10th. That was a huge game for them, and it was a game they really needed. They managed to get to second 11, and we almost counted these guys out, really. But they proved they do have what it takes. They've just got to now prove it again in Game 8.
Finally playing with the fearlessness that we sort of highlighted earlier at the start of the day. They went for the juggler there, 13 elims and second place. Of course, they would have wanted the win, but we know they're capable of high elimination games. They're going to have to top that, though, you know, in this final game, if they really want to give themselves the best chance possible, because, yeah, there's a bunch of really good teams who I think we can expect to make it to another end game here. So not going to be an easy task, but they showed us in that last game as possible.
Let's bring up the leaderboard again, and again, look at the runners and riders. I'd like to actually go downwards, down the leaderboard onto what we normally call page 2. Because again, those points are so incredibly close. Focus and Thomas, it's not out of the question, but if we consider that 6th place is currently 231 points, they absolutely need a mammoth game, because the teams that are above them, Coach Harry, are also going to be picking up points.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Sayas and Scary's last game, that's an 89-point game, and they didn't even get the victory royale, right? So you can get towards an 100-point game if it all goes right. So if you are Focus and Thomas, if you are someone like Rax and Janice, you're going to need to get active. You're going to need to be aggressive. It's not a situation where you can just try and play a standard game. You will not get enough points. So I'm excited to see what they do, how they change things up. Maybe they change landing spot, but there's 100% going to be action in the final game.
Well, the bright lights of Paris await for 3 more duos. We're going to head to Game 8, and after that, tickets will be booked.
Look, I feel mad nervous right now, and I'm not even playing Takata. It is just ridiculous when you look at the leaderboard standings and just how much it's shifted from the start of the day to right now, but we are waiting to see who's actually going to be teed up for that EWC LAN later on in August, because Game 8 is underway.
It's close. It's really close. I mean, anybody in the top 10, top 11, even top 12 has a solid chance of qualifying. Will they play aggressive? Will they play slow? Are they gonna go in a Sayas Scary route and go for 10 eliminations before the end game even starts? Well, there's teams that don't have as much pressure on their shoulders, like Shark Team, who have already qualified, and we might see them doing exactly that, but you gotta be careful. The Shark has already gone down to Haris. Looks like they had a little split drop coming through.
All or nothing right now for Pink and Haris. They don't have the opportunity to sit and wait. All they want to do is try and establish themselves right here, right now. Cool Hail Mary as Teeny finds an elimination onto Trexer. Trexer and Pradaj landing a little bit too close where they were situated, but Hellfire and Winter for the first time, at least from what we've captured on broadcast, have managed to open open up with a big elimination onto Fadil. This is a huge shutdown. Fadil and Ju have been fighting non-stop to try and get their position settled in on the leaderboard, and now Hellfire and Winter might just be making them fall short of it by putting this hiccup early on in their gameplay.
The battle continues. Volko Cringe taking their shots now onto Ju as he tries to disengage. Fadil has gone down. Ju had to be careful there. It's good he didn't get caught off guard. In the meantime, though, what has Hellfire been up to? Oh, this is actually how Fadil went down originally. What a way. No mats to work with. Second elim now for Hellfire Winter.
And can definitely anticipate Hellfire and Winter to continue trying to chase out Fadil. The only way that Fadil and Ju might be able to escape this is from intervention by other teams looking to also hunt those elimination points, but it is practically looking like a crash out central right now from all of these teams. Takata, everybody just hunting down for whatever elimination points they can gather, and Scary, Sayaz, they might have just invited the attention of the entire lobby here as Rax Yanis trying to get involved for Riz and Pink, the original opening strikers on that fight, and Rax, he'll think better of it. Doesn't want to try and keep that one going. It's Pink and a Riz. Those fast eliminations just make it very complicated to actually try and interfere.
Yapko Panther, one of the qualified duos. Less to lose, but, you know, like you said, prize pool still incredibly high, 167 points. Kind of in one of those positions where if you want to bump yourself up that leaderboard, a big match is what's coming. The team right on the border, right beside them, is Thomas HD and Focus. They might just fight each other.
Panzer just trying to see if he can squeeze away Focus Thomas. They are going for that monumental game. They might have found a victory royale to start the day, but it has just been so messy ever since, and they need this so desperately. They are hunting out every single elimination they can try and factor into their scorecards, and now Thomas, Focus, spending a little bit too much time possibly dancing around here with Yapko and Panzer. They are not making it easy. And what you're hunting for, if you're in Thomas and Focus's position, it's not even just the elimination points, but you want to be quick about it. You don't want the chance for other teams to start positioning themselves in a way to punish you the moment that you break out of where you were originally fighting at.
Sayas taking out Yanis in the meantime. It is just non-stop action for all these players that are desperate for getting into that top 6. Pink Karis being one of them. 4 on the board already as Darm gets taken down. Demish, it's all up to you in the 2 versus 1. Will you disengage, or is he going to continue fighting? As it looks like he's feeling confident.
Demish recognizes the fact that it's just not an advantageous spot to be in. For Riz, getting that 5th elimination is actually such a big upswing for himself and Pink. They need these points just as badly as Thomas and Focus. They are trying to put themselves into contention. They know that the bell hasn't rang just yet. They still have the entirety of game number 8 to try and make the difference and close things out on the day with the LAN qualification spot. But obviously so many other teams with the same sort of mentality. Zarb and Wolvax just looking to play spoiler here right now for Dexy, not going to allow him to escape, shutting him down in the process. And for Dexy and Fido, that just means all the more complications for maintaining their spot on the leaderboard.
Might see a repeat here too as Dexy Fido fully cracked once again with Wolvax. Zarb chasing them, hunting them down, but Zarb gets cracked by Thomas and Focus. Might have actually even been knocked here. No, just put low. Gonna be able to recuperate shield and HP now. As Thomas and Focus, they know what they need to qualify. It's a 100-point game.
Just scanning non-stop in the horizon, though. For Zarb and Wolvax, LAN qualification is completely out the window, just mathematically speaking, but they can still look to try and play for prizing. It's going to be tough, but they're not factoring themselves out. This is also just valuable experience in the reloads department. Never know what kinds of competitions. Right around the corner here as Skyjump and Mumsy, 269 points. They have done such a great job here today at managing to put themselves into a LAN qualification position, but now they need to maintain it.
It's crazy because Izzy and Nosif are their neighbors on the leaderboard. From way down below to now both French duos being head-to-head, both in qualifying range. Looking to represent in Paris, but be careful as the pressure is on. It's Hellfire knocking on the door alongside Winter. They're connecting their shots, but no knock has come through yet.
And this is a big problem right now for Vexy and CashApp. You have to remember that they're technically tied on the leaderboard heading into this last game with Badil and Ju. Their points are neck and neck. And so if they take it out of the lobby right here, right now by Hellfire and Winter, not only does that allow Hellfire and Winter the opportunity to potentially steal that spot away from them, but it would very likely just be heartbreaking for Vexy and CashApp to lose out on the opportunity. Polish duo doing everything they can, try and push back. But these kinds of signs of life are just so difficult to try and overcome. But for Hellfire and Winter, they are not even the slightest bit deterred. Hellfire will be able to close things out. The Siphon too, just going to help him. Moving around inside the storm. CashApp did manage to escape, but how much distance did he really factor in between himself and Hellfire and Winter? The moment that Vexy reboots in, they're gonna have a pretty good idea of where CashApp is actually at.
Wonder how many total eliminations have come through in this game. I mean, it seems non-stop. The feed is just constantly going. It's ridiculous how much pressure is being put on. A lot coming from Thomas and Focus, so you can tell they have not given up yet, just like all these other players in that surrounding area of the cutoff. Hellfire Winter continuing their pursuit.
It's just crazy to see all of these teams that are just so relentlessly trying to hunt down whatever elimination points they can factor in. And for Hellfire Winter, every little bit counts more than ever. Just a couple of lobbies, finding themselves eliminated before that 15 placement points factored in. And that's really all it takes. That just goes to show how tight-knit the competition has been throughout today's games.
Really has. We look now. They've gotten 4 elims. Okay. Not too bad. Pink almost getting taken out, but shot not done enough damage. They've gotten a nice zone here. They are going to actually expand to kind of claim the corner. This is looking good. I mean, we saw how confidently Thomas and Focus played for height in the first game. I would not be surprised if we see a repeat of that here.
You say that, but Thomas and Focus, they're going to need more than just a victory royale. They're going to need some eliminations to go with it. I believe the highest scoring point on the day is still held by Sharkantini, who factored in something like 90 points, I believe, in one game. Size and Scary came close with that 89 points representation, and Focus and Thomas, they still have to go just a little bit above that, and that's only assuming the teams that are within the 3 qualification land spots don't also have strong performances here in this final lobby. So it's just difficult.
Odds are not in their favor. Odds are not in their favor at all. But hey, it's possible. And that's what makes it so special. Sky Scroll, as we saw in the last game, dancing in their box. Not really much to worry about. But hey, they want that first place prize money, and they're close to it. It's Sharktini, Swizzy Pixie standing in their way. Siennis is forced to push on forwards. Rax now in the middle of a little engagement here. It's actually on to Hellfire that gets knocked down, and both players fully eliminated. That is not good looks for Hellfire and Winter.
But that is a perfect bit of bounce back for Rax and Janice, where one team has been shut down, another team could potentially rise because of it. Skyjump and Mumsy just trailing, but they aren't able to make it in. The cutoffs, Hellfire, Winter, going to be the ones to actually take out Skyjump and Mumsy, and now their fate rests exclusively on the performance of everybody else in this lobby.
Arms somehow has overthrown Thomas and Focus's little high ground base they'd built as a solo. I mean, I guess good and bad news is Zone is pulled to the complete opposite side of the map, so long rotate for them. Sky Scroll gonna choose to rotate early. Done it flawlessly, not taking any damage at all. Shark Teeny right beside them.
This overhead view, just really just trying to take it all in for a moment here. But that stillness is just so daunting, especially when you're watching the likes of Izzy and Nosif, who are trying to dictate their own land qualification fate. They are right on the cusp. They've got the spot, technically speaking. They just need to close things out. Badil and Ju not looking to make it easy for anyone. They could potentially shut down Swizzy and Pixie's hopes of that first place finish even, but Badil going to give it up. Recognizes the fact that Juice isn't really worth the squeeze here. Doesn't want to chase Swizzy and Pixie any further. Rather just cement himself in a strong position to see where the next zone's actually going to head.
Thomas has been knocked down. This is detrimental for them if they want to qualify. Reload as well. Reboot's disabled. All the pressure is onto Focus's shoulders here. Trexer on the other side of the wall. Seems to be another solo, so could be a quick elimination, but the odds not in their favor at all.
Focus just has to do the unthinkable right now. If he's able to pull this one off, you might as well just factor him in as one of the best to ever do it, because that would just be absolute insanity to witness. But there is just so much to actually overcome. It's a little bit of a grim circumstance to be in for sure. Scary and Saya's on the other hand, right within the striking range. Ju going to be able to close off that line of sight. Gotta stay hip and hip with your deal.
With Badil and Ju going into this match, they got out of a tough situation before. They've now made it to the end game. But placements points are just going to get started here. Nosif, Izzy down below. Sky Scroll going down as well. Cringe Volko. Shark Teeny up in the clouds, gliding for as long as they possibly can.
Just another one of those teams that desperately needs it. And for Volko, he gets beamed out of the air. Cringe not going to have the chance to look back. He's just got to play his own life here, and Rax is going to be the one punishing Volko for trying to hang about off the launchpad strategy here. There's always some risk factored in, and for Rax and Yanis, they are sending it on height. They are looking to take out every single one of these teams that thought they could play for the safety net of the launchpad methods. And this is just so destructive now, because all these teams sent crashing into the lower layers, hunting for players left in isolated positions like Ju, who's got to just hold on.
Cannot afford to go down if he wants to qualify. No teammate left. Cringe as well with a solo. So many solos on the cusp of qualifying. They need to clutch out more points here. They're already getting placements after every duo that gets eliminated, but Izzy falls as well. There's just more and more solos racking up, but Ju is gonna go down. Raxianis have taken height. Cringe as well, clutching it up.
But Cringe, all he needs, he can't even look at the points. He just needs to think about survival. Every single one of his senses fully maxed out here as Nosif continues trying to hold on for dear life. Everybody wants every little bit of points that they can muster up, and Nosif doing his best to dance around some of these pre-existing builds. A Zombo bag would be so beneficial right now, but he's not gonna get the chance. He's taken out by the storm itself. That sickness working against him is now Scary from way up above, secondary height, pulling it over.
With the weight of Spain on his shoulders from an incredible last match, trying to clutch any points he possibly can. Cringe as well, one of the other solos. So many players with the opportunity to qualify. Who's going to be able to make it happen as Sky picks up one more? Rax and Yanis continuing to hold on above.
This would be the one to win if there was ever the time to do it. Rax and Yanis trying to do the unthinkable here is scary. Will be shut down. Cringe still lingering about as a solo. The amount of points that he's been building might just be the ultimate difference maker here. As Yanis now looking to capitalize. Rax just hanging on by a sliver of HP, but 12 eliminations already for this duo. Rax just needs to see if he can find one more. The Siphon would be everything currently, but Rax, Yanis forced to drop. Rax is taken out. Yanis realizes that he's got to do what he can just to see if he can hold on. He knows that this just isn't enough. He's going to even look to play for the revive. Sky Scroll, just so distraction factor, actually going to be able to give him the time he needs. And now Rex, he might have just been able to do this.
They need to win this game. They were 15th going into it. A victory royale is what they need if they want to qualify. All the pressure is on their shoulders. They have to hit their shots here, but Yanis Rex go down. Sky and Scroll come out on top, but for how long? It was actually Shark and Teeny taking shots from above. Sky has been left alone. And they actually just win the game. Shark Teeny out of nowhere. They win Reload Elite Series Qualifier 1. They win the Qualifier 2. And have they just won the 4th qualifier as well? They might have just won every single qualifier finals that they made it to, Taco.
If I'm Swizzy and